the Lord of the Republic of Azerbaijan, His Excellency Ilham Aliyev, and this morning he went to the Azerbaijan Parliament. The member of his delegation, composed of Safia Elmi Chibril, Ahmed Hassan Mohammed, and Abdullahi Pilal Khadar, have accompanied him. Also took part of this decision Mr. Muhammad Ali Kamil, Ambassador of Djibouti in Azerbaijan, but resident in Moscow, as well as the Ambassador of Azerbaijan accredited to Djibouti with residence in Addis Ababa, Elman Abdul Wahab. The President of the National Assembly, Ogala Asuda, has welcomed very warmly his counterpart of Djibouti, with the Parliament of the two presidents welcome in the course of their discussion of the relation of the friendship and cooperation between the two countries, and which consolidate from day to day. The President Muhammad has highlighted the inter-parliamentary exchange. The President of the National Assembly has seized his opportunity to invite his Azerbaijan counterpart to Djibouti for an official visit. The two assemblies have formed the two groups of inter-parliamentary friendship chaired respectively by Rusal Kazinov and Safi Elmi Chibril.
A ceremony of donation of school kits was held in the school of Belbelatri. These school kits have been presented today by the Chinese government for the benefit of the students of the school of Belbelatri. It is intended to some 200 students. The ceremony is held in the presence of the director of school of Belbelatri, the Chinese ambassador in Djibouti, and in the president of the commune of Belbela, Waberi Nur Eleye. Know that these school materials will relieve the scholarships of the poorest families for this school year. It should also be emphasized that the kids could include lots of reserves in notebooks, pens, erasers, and other school equipments that will be used throughout the school year. More generally, it should bear in mind that these operations of distribution of school kits have become a tradition for several years.
The Deputy Parliamentarian and the Minister of the Defense of Japan, Mr. Hiroyuki Miyawaza, is the official visit to Djibouti, and today he has had a first interview with the Minister of the Defense of Djibouti, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdan. During his stay, the Vice Minister of Japan will tour the facility of the Force of the Self-Defense of Japan. The visit of Mr. Miyazawa to Djibouti has the objective to strengthen the cooperation with the Republic of Djibouti, a strategic partner for Japan in framework for fight against piracy and the maintenance of security in the world maritime transport. The forces of self-defense of Japan are deployed to Djibouti to participate in the anti-piracy operation in the Gulf of Aden and off the coast of Somalia since 2009.
Now let's head to the White City, Tijora, where the Caravan of Entrepreneurship organized by the National Employment Agency Training in Professional Insertion, ANIFEP, is closed this morning in the premises of the Prefecture of the region of Tijora. The ceremony, presided over by the Minister of Labor responsible for the reform of the administration, Hassan Idris Semirwe, has also seen the participation of Minister of the Decentralization, Hamadou Aramis, who has honored with its presence this event. Also present at this ceremony, the Prefect Abdul Malik Muhammad Boneita and the President of the Regional Council of Tijora, Umar Hussein, as well as the representatives of financial partner of the caravan, to know the Education Development Center, EDC. And at the end of the ceremony, the participants in this training, 20 young people, have benefited from entrepreneurial training, are seen presenting certificates of, by the hands of the ministers and the regional authorities.
The Minister of Decentralization had his intervention said by the initiating the young graduate to the entrepreneurship for the state made a good investment for the fight against unemployment. It must also see that each region has its specification and the opportunity to launch in entrepreneurship does not lack. The result of the activity must not discourage young people who engage in the activity entrepreneur has a straining to preserve will arrive if they have positive result. If today 20 young people are training tomorrow, these young people once launched their activity will hire the same number of employment.
As for the Minister of Labor, Hassan Idriss Samirwe, has been very delighted about the organization of this event, which will open doors for the youth to fight against unemployment. And for the occasion of the closing of this ceremony, the minister did not miss to congratulate the participants for their commitment and their effort to create their own businesses.
The Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, Mr. Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, had chaired yesterday in Ali Sebiye at the headquarters of the Regional Council working meeting between the parliamentarians from the region of Tikil, Ali Sebiye and Arta, and the regional advisor of the said region. This meeting helped to discuss the creation of a permanent framework of the cooperation and dialogue between regional advisors. The discussion have focused in particular on the expectation of the population of the region and realization of the objective sought through a financial autonomy to better manage each region. Upon the arrival of the place, the Minister Aramis and his delegation have received a warm welcome of the population of Ali Sebiye, who was strongly mobilized. This is a testimony of the popularity of the decentralization and which is committed on a new track, more probable and more concrete.
In his opening speech, the Mr. Aramis has overviewed the history of the decentralization in the country so that assistants can enjoy time together in the journey of this process. He recalled that if the idea of decentralization goes back to the first hours of the accession to independence, that it was registered in a clear manner in the Constitution of September 1992, in force, and that the peace agreement in Civil Concord of December 1994 was for. It is in 1999, at the beginning of the first mandate of the current head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, that it is materialized by the establishment of a Ministry of Delegate to the Premature responsible for the decentralization and the elections of the regional advisors, whereas previously the regional advisors were appointed by presidential decree.
The Department of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs, responsible for human rights, in partnership with the Office of the United Nations in the fight against drugs and crime, has organized a workshop for the training of trainees on the fight against the trafficking of the person. This training workshop, which took place over a period of 4 days at the Palace of the People, has been closed today by the organization of the ceremony of certificate to participants. This ceremony was chaired by the Secretary General of the Minister of Justice, Mr. Abdi Ismail Hesse. This training will follow the organization of workshop for the validation of 10 modules of training, which was held on 26 and 27 February 2016, as well as the magistrate member of the public, Minister of Justice and the Court First instance, official of the juridical police of the body of National Gendarmerie, National Security and the Coast Guard have benefited from these trainings.
Other news of this edition, the University Institute of Industrial Technology has organized today, in collaboration with the National Agency for the Use of Training and the Professional Insertion, the second edition job day of IUT, University Institute of Industrial Technology. This day, which is the second edition, is a day of a simulation of interviews for the recruitment of students. The objective of this exercise of training is to put the students in the actual situation of maintenance of recruiting. The Director of Studies of the University Institute of Technology has explained that 50 students of third-year bachelor degree were selected and must convince the jury of their skills in justifying their candidature, and based on the currents of their professional project from their CV and their letter of motivation during 15 minutes. He has added that the role is composed of professional partners of the University of Djibouti.
The Department of Habitat, the Department of Housing, the Planning and Organization has organized this morning the conference room of the Department of the Housing in presentation ceremony of the certificate to the participant of the training workshop on the development, the use of numerical model for the hydrogeological simulate, evaluate to joint the impact of the climate change and the human activity on availability and sensibility of the groundwater resource. This workshop began on 2nd of May and lasted until the third day of May. During the 3 days of the training, the workshop enabled participants to acquire all the necessary knowledge, the development and the use of the numerical models to the hydrogeological to simulate and evaluate the joint impact of the climate change and human activity on the availability of the sustainability of the groundwater resource. In his closing speech, the training workshop, the Acting Secretary General of the Minister of the Housing, of the Town Planning and the Environment has proposed the beneficiary of this training to daily apply the lesson learned during the training to continuously improve the skill in this area and continue to exchange and share in a group the experience and the data.
An important closing ceremony of the training was held yesterday at the training center of the Gendarmerie SIS in PK23. It was a training of military certificate of first degree by Lieutenant Colonel Patrice Rivel of Military Corporation of France. This training of CN1, which qualifies the trainees at the command of infantry group, has a duration of midway 3 less and brought together in authority of gendarmeries. Have taken part in this ceremony many civil and military authorities, in which the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, and the notables of the region of Arta. As accustomed, the head of the state, the head of the Major General of the Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, has reviewed the troops in place by following the series of speeches. The Lieutenant Colonel Patrice, in his intervention, welcomed the effectiveness, the discipline and the promptness of the gendarmes trainees, and at the end of the speeches, the senior commanders of the gendarmerie were handed over the military certificate of first degree to the first 10 of them, and the first of the trainee has received a list to the hand of the Chief of Staff of the Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, on the occurrence Yassin Mohammed Ali.
1st May 2017 at 7 p.m. acting on information intersecting the gendarmerie of the section of the research and documentation have a traffic art from historical heritage of Yemen. It is the outcome of the lengthy investigation that the gendarmerie was searching the home of an individual which prevents to be the seller of the objective from the historic heritage Yemeni. During this search, it was discovered and then entering a statuette measuring 24 centimeters of weighing 1.75 kilograms of inestimable value. The next day, the investigator of the section of the research and document, in the course of the new search, have again discovered a size small statuette measuring 15 centimeters and weighing 250 grams. The individual who have been the objective and this new search is other than the important illegal work of art that are the subject of the traffic of the historical inheritance of Yemen to Djibouti. It is thanks to the work of the tireless and the constable in the section of the research and documentation that could be dismantled this illegal traffic of the art from Yemen. At the end of the custody, the 3 people involved in this traffic will be presented before the justice, where they will have to answer for their acts.
On the international scene, President Vladimir Putin and Recep Tayyip Erdogan agreed on Wednesday to support the formation of de-escalation zones in Syria, saying both Russia and Turkey wanted to bolster the fragile truce in the war-ravaged country. The meeting between the former foes, which took place in the Black Sea resort of Sochi, selected possible growing cooperation between nations on deeply at odds over Syria's conflict. The zones, according to a draft document seen by the Télé, will be located in the rebel-held Idlib governorate north of the city of Homs, in eastern Ghouta, and in the south of Syria. Mr. Putin said the proposed safe zone in Syria should become no-fly areas if fighting on the ground stops entirely. U.S. President Donald Trump has already expressed his support for such a plan, hoping will reduce the flow of refugees. The plan to create the escalation zones was said to be discussed at fresh peace talks in the Kazakh capital Astana on Wednesday. Rebels suspended their participation in protests at airstrikes on civilians. Rebel officials said that they objected to several clauses of the proposal and could not accept it in its current state. That's it for tonight's news. Thank you for joining us on RTD and have a good night.